Pues un saludo enorme a todos. La MLS sigue de fiesta, ya son 30 años de la fundación de esta liga y es muy importante recordar a las grandes estrellas que van dejando un legado, no solamente como jugadores, sino ahora también como entrenadores y uno muy especial para la Major League Soccer es Chris Armas, quien nos acompaña en esta ocasión. Thank you so much, Chris, for being here with us. First of all, I would like for you to tell us, what does being a part of the MLS legacy means to you?
Oh, it's a good question, and I appreciate it. Because I'm one of the people in this league, in this country, in our sport. I love our league. I love MLS. Um, I was once that kid dreaming of playing professional soccer, and I graduated college in 1994, and Major League Soccer after the World Cup that we hosted in 1994. There was plans of this league in 1996. And when the league started in 1996, I got drafted to play for the LA Galaxy, and then I had a long career in MLS and with the national team. But um, so much of what I have in my life, the privilege that I've had from MLS as a player and now a coach. I spent some years helping out the league office on the disciplinary committee. It's given me so much opportunity for me, my family. So being part of the early years and now 30 years later, as you say, it's just playing a small part to try to make this a great league, a respected league, an exciting league. Um, I fight every single day to stay in my position and just keep being part of this special league.
Um, so it's 1996 and you score your first MLS goal. How do you remember that day?
Well, I only saw recently against, I think it was San Jose, that I scored goal. And a lot of the players here in Colorado said, "Hey, coach, do you remember this was your first goal?" I said, "No, I don't remember." I told them I scored so many goals, but the truth was I didn't score too many goals. Um, but I didn't remember my first goal. I don't even know my last goal that I ever scored as a professional. And I think if being honest, it's not so many of those things that I remember, like that was important to me, but I'm sure when I saw the celebration, I was so excited. The scoring goals is the best part of the game. So yeah, when you score a goal at this level, maybe it's especially your first goal. Maybe it's a reminder for you that you belong. Maybe you've arrived on the scene and that you're good enough. So yeah, I was always someone that celebrated goals with my teammates when they scored goals. So it was a fun celebration. I saw it recently, but yeah, I didn't remember this was my first goal.
That's great. Yeah, 'cause I've seen it so many times, and even, MLS and other um pages, they have been sharing it. So it's it's just amazing, to see how you don't remember that was your first goal, but yet it's been an inspiration for so many people, so
Thank you.
you've won so many titles and you've been recognized as part of the best 11 5 times. But which moment do you remember being your favorite in MLS?
Hmm. Yeah, I would say that my favorite moment was 1998 when we won the MLS Cup. We were at the Rose Bowl, which was ironically the team that I got drafted by, the LA Galaxy. So we were playing against DC United, and I was with Chicago. But we played that game in the early years. It was a pre designated site that they named. But the Rose Bowl, I had gotten traded to Chicago, and now here I am at the end of the season in '98, playing at my old stadium and winning. In 1996, we went to the final game, LA Galaxy versus DC United, and we lost in overtime. And I couldn't believe this because I said, well, will I ever get back to the MLS Cup final? Will this ever happen again? So here I am, ironically, again, playing in my old stadium against DC United, the team that beat us the first time around, with my new team, and we won. And I'll never forget this. I'm an emotional, passionate guy as it is, but I couldn't hold it together. I was just what that meant at any given time when you realize maybe you're part of being the best team at that moment in the country. It was a very special moment in my career. The accomplishment with that we won, and how we did it with the group of guys that I was part of. It was amazing. Yeah.
That is so amazing. Is that the moment that has, fulfilled you the most, or has there any other moment?
Um, yeah, no, I think that was a moment, a sense of accomplishment. Um, Another moment, let's just say, is the moment that I at a couple of months later in November, I played my first game with the U.S. national team. So Bruce Arena called me into that camp. We played in San Jose, California against Australia. I played the second half, but again, as a young player coming through, in that very moment, to put on the colors, to put on the jersey of your of your national team is something, it always only seemed out there. Like, how do you get there? Will they ever think I'm good enough? Will they give me a chance? Will you be good enough? Yeah, so those were two moments. But if I'm being really honest with you, the thing that excited me most in my career, in my playing, was just being there. I loved every day. I didn't wait to the end of my career to appreciate what I was doing. I knew my very first year like I felt my very last year. My very first cap with the national team, 66 games later. I played a long time with the national team, and over 7 years, I was always with goosebumps, and I said, I'm so grateful to be here. I'm going to fight so hard for my team. And so it was the playing that really got me excited. The moments were little moments, but even some of the goals and these things were, again, I didn't score a lot of goals. I got to remind you, but it's more that the other big ticket items was playing and being part of it. So
And
yeah.
I think that leads to my next question, like how was the transition from player to coach? Because you just can't let it go. So how was the transition from player to coach?
Yeah, I had a hard time with this. Some of my teammates, Jesse Marsh, when he finished playing, he was ready for coaching. I didn't feel that way. I didn't. Little did I know how much I needed to learn. Forget about that. There's so much you need to learn and grow as a coach. That it's a completely different world, playing and coaching. Even though you got to keep it simple in many ways, but I wasn't ready emotionally. I had a hip injury in 2007. I knew that it was coming to the end, with my body. My hip was, I needed a surgery. I wasn't going to have the surgery and come back at 36 years old the following year. But when I started coaching in 2008, the following year, with my same team, the Chicago Fire, I loved it. I loved the locker room. I loved the guys. Dennis Hamlet was the head coach. This was really good, but I still thought too much like a player. And I think that's what helped me become maybe a good coach, that I could relate to the players, but I was missing it too much. I had too much love for the playing part of it, that didn't set me free yet to go and explore the coaching the way I needed to go and do that. So that, I think that took a little bit of time, a little over a year or two, to really um, start to gather my ideas and let go, that this there's not going to be a comeback. Those days are done, and it's, honestly, for me, it was a terrible feeling, because for me, you have an identity. It's who you. Look, I'm still a dad. I'm a good dad. I'm really proud to say that. I won't say much about myself as a player. I'm a good dad and a good friend and a good husband. That stuff was always there for me, and I was all in on that. But you lose yourself a little bit when you, at least I did, when I became not a player anymore. You lose a little bit of who you are, and that took a little bit of time, because again, how much I loved every day of the playing. You take that away from me, like, what's going on here? So I would say at night I would always dream of if I could have a wish, maybe one more game. Give me one more game. And when that one's done, I want another wish for one more game. I loved playing too much that it took a little bit of time for me to, get comfortable with that. And now years later, I'm really, really comfortable with this. I love coaching.
And we can see that. So I heard in another interview that you like playing against Mexican teams. Can you share a little more about this? What type of challenges do you usually face against them?
Well, I think the reason why I enjoy the competition against the Mexican teams is because I have so much respect for the Mexican soccer population, the people in Mexico, the passion that they come with, the knowledge. Anytime we always in the early years in Chicago, we would always go to preseason in Mexico, and I fell in love with the culture. We would always go to different games and watch. I said, imagine if you're early years of MLS, you don't see this type of culture in the stadiums. Now, of course, we see this, and the Mexican population, they're coming too with us on this journey. But I got to see something different from I didn't wasn't spending a lot of time in Europe or South America. I got to see the culture of the people and the football community in Mexico. I said, "Whoa, this is what it could be." I would always leave with jersey and have something, and I always loved it. And then when I became a player and on the national team, I got to play against Mexico at Azteca Stadium, 100,000 people in Cuauhtemoc Blanco and Pardo. All these guys, I guess these guys are so good, and we always would fight hard in these games. But the best thing we had was that we respected the Mexican team. We always thought they were here, and we if we didn't bring our good stuff, we have no chance. I think that always helped us have such good games and rivalry with Mexico, the national team. And then now we have the Leagues Cup and the competitions and Champions Cup, where now you get to coach against the Mexican teams, which sometimes it's Mexican coaches, sometimes it's many Mexican players, different South Americans. So it's a whole different thing. But anytime you can play against the Mexican teams, even better in Mexico, more difficult because of the people and the community. But I have so much respect for the Mexican, League MX and the team, the players, the culture. I have some good friends there still too. Pardo, because he was with Chicago Fire. Cuauhtemoc Blanco is a good friend with me. We used to fight each other on the field, but then we became teammates in Chicago. And if
Yeah.
I always respected him as a player, and then when I was his teammate, I said, "Wow, I even more as a person," and one of the best players I've ever played with. So yeah, I love playing against it only because of the respect I have for Mexican football.
Well, thank you so much for sharing all your experiences in MLS with us. I am completely sure that the path that you've been working on will help future talents, to join and keep making history here at the Major League Soccer. And we can't wait to witness it all. So thank you so much.
Perfect. My pleasure. Thank you so much.
Para ver más, suscríbete al canal de Fox Deportes en YouTube.